nationwide. From debates on Capitol Hill, America prevent this from happening should be able to, knowing that they will be Iowa and in Graham. I want to assure people is just as important. I am pleased to $100 million. Iowa's 300 and our 80 schools and local partners. 2015 emergency management infrastructure identified vulnerability. In 2000, a law public schools operation plan situations also include the drill. At the time the law was passed, school districts had emergency and 10% for an active shoot all schools. In January, our School Safety Bureau, Public Safety Enforcement Partners Response Strategy, Public Safety Sessions in communities, departments, and schools measures with today's it needs to support all schools. Will soon be staffed and analysts to school safety will supplement local provide the level of needed. It will implement public to anonymous schools, digital, and provide specialized enforcement over 8 vulnerability assessment districts school to help school movements and security and emergency experts to assess for vulnerabilities that do harm. How they can mitigate them. And improvements can safety improve available 50,000 statewide. Cost to implement can use their additional cost. Tremendous proactive in schools while also schools and community to limited investment, approximately $7 million. Report ongoing end of calendar years. A permanent forward to. Now I'd like to invite Commissioner Bates about the Bureau and its operations.
I want to, and all of our charged seriously. Thrive if they feel. We live in a time will remain be intentional about tools and regardless of its needed to feed the Governor Reynolds initiative. The creation of, and while it hit, that it has gone from a operationalized pushing forward and it will require a whole approach to school safety. The goal is to identify so parents, health professional assistants for having formed role in these schools to identify spacing local control training and first and empower the expertise available to it as quickly as possible. Supplement current taken by schools, not to home communities. Providers follow an emergency rate. Everyone solely on them events can quickly overwhelm. In conjunction, we will make emergency all requesting school administrators, the law enforcement, anonymously early threat of any safe school environment and anonymous that will be Skype or phone. Form will be monitored and will permit train way communication and will ensure with those who need will be capable of they may have environment or threats of self gang. And finally, we will do software are almost an 80% of all hack individuals. Division of Intelligence Software and monitoring digital source will make active shooter the governor's free of first responder and civilians. The advanced training from Texas State has been used to train more responders wide. Third of all through active. Finally, we will, in order to effectively promote the program, advisor's position, who will staff and administrative a criminal and ingest threats, all training to monitor. Additionally, include our cyber crime, stand ready to be needed. Already good things preparedness. Partners violence. The Bureau is here to and provide access that may not be in rural Iowa or supplant built to keep work shouldered for the comments for our children to learn. I wish we could, but we cannot that'll never. Rather, and we tackle. We owe it to our kids. And we will do everything behind. Again, thank you.
I just want to recognize in the state and local the support that they provide first responders. I just really appreciate the School Safety Bureau make great step students and their teachers for learning. The question still to prevent this type of beats like Uvalde, Stone, and Des Moines. Acts committed impossible to. We must work to happen. Acts others will continue. Date on guns will continue. The lethal weapon who picks up the gun. We risk that cause of work to reverse its consequences concerning and violent behaviors. Absolutely. In 2021, percent to 30 level, almost every, and they stopped and also report ideation indicated that they had thought of 12 months and to do so. It's that violent behavior admitted to him who made them angry of sixth graders. All behaviors on school property. Attitudes toward violence. Ask whether violence conflict. Only 30% disagreed. Public safety in many factors. Since taking office, access to mental, and I'm really progress that we've made. Adult core serving the first ever children. Mental health provider programs on repayment areas. train primary and address between NAMI. Last year, we had funding source mental health property tax levy fund. 3 budget, our total mental increase by nearly 3. From the start of this, consider the unique mental health needs to help identify students so that early in 2000 on use provides training, staff, identify experiences, legislation that establishes service for mental to have an important and now Iowa Center for access to a variety of capacity for the immediate supports across our site. Director Lebo, who shared the work schools have been support safe environment been working on.
Reynolds providing a safe staff presence and much needed communities but these communities can never be too persistent. Continue to be and academically. I'm proud of years with education, mental health, and community with a strong fund. Now we can do them even safer. The district has an emergency, their approach an emergency. It's in collaboration with management staff, health officials in their each year, the Iowa Department of Education, their emergency outlined in state law must include, but are not active shooter scenario, provide that information that is transmitted to employees to be in the building and public parents, threats, personnel, based on these plans we are currently in the this year have until June the collection but 290 districts ahead of staff and parents to positive rules and how they for learning serve every student's success aggregated day strengths and weak support and research an optimal learning environment for school mental health with education. All Iowa schools urban best practices. This includes face-to-face and online teachers and practicing support of social supports. The staff at the IE assisting across the state. Conducting district educators on Bondurant for our students and teachers project murder, assisting on evaluation of their counseling services on supports and funding capacity to improve social outcomes in Iowa schools series where educate to earn free. The center's workforce by awarding support of graduate training in counselology or high school mental. These are just a few that are currently available. Also help expand violence. And a study released last year at Assessment Center, 7 averted schools. The report identifying interventions and putting clear protocols that classmates and continues to prioritize strategies and services recommendations. Colleagues at the offering our schools and assistance, safety and security. These additional funds, a school's critical incident training for educate proactive measures in the coming week identified and survey school district specific needs available to serve. Assessments through CASA support application support information to the this is important role in schools for your and his team. This is a team commitment education and mental health part.
I greatly support of programs and in fact to read the options in the process for I want to recognize and acknowledge Director of Emergency Management overview of we could have some idea of all included and so I appreciate public safety and really what's available. And the Bureau will be over the summer so that'll in time for the timelines. In the Department of Public Safety and Management, reviewing proposals to secure that will be used. The school vulnerabilities focused on. We're as eager to see this all take on the progress.
We are proposal now that we hope is the timeline to start together with the hope that it can good process. The one is asking them to if they feel safe to do so. One thing don't know geographical but may come up through a kid from one side and another side of this have a statewide potential threat boundaries.
So it's from the federal authorization of the plans will be used for that based on the federal that the school ESSER funding we've made available. I wasn't per for the schools about what the average is in making that what were identified assessment.
Sure.
Yep.
That would
yeah, it was me about 1.5 being through 20. Talk to the we're willing to forward on some type of additional funding coming in the works, but allocated $100 million. We'll revisit it. And by far, $100 million is really going to establish the assessment dose and then really bring next so that our about that's really implications as and so I buy those for the cost out of it to make sure that and kids are in school. You see that across with the increase taking place every things all the day to have a quality plan to make sure that it addressed natural disaster effort that went in the school safety allowed us to quick times ready and play working with school founders throughout and just with some of the experiencing that we're able to stand up a holistic school. Yeah, it was working on mental health. There's not a single training the train before law enforcement. In addition to over the years, it's been able to do, but working with really, they need early opportunity to, have a quality laying out has allowed us to. We're not starting from a lot of these conferences. The commissioner has been able to, which helped we were looking at, and to go.
In 2020 years since.
But we hope that's the message. Get the funding, so we haven't stood up, but wonderful use of, again, its infrastructure, as you know, for ongoing, that will cost to, about 1.5, being able to find important, they know it's important, because it's 2020 that we can talk to them, learned, it's important. More need. You want to talk about schools?
And folks assigned to it, this a little bit as partners as well. Kind of more of the training, their home communities and men back. And so then we can kind of, many hands, the concept that of our relationships in the Iowa Chiefs and me, going to bring it the resources that the governor.
And
Intelligence, they work with frequently, and the governor here, that's reported from Interpol. Happens is there's a popular gaming. We frequently via Interpol that made a threat, those sorts of things. Interpol, and then we get it to local law enforcement headed off. So holistic and collective. Well, I bet scenario probably happens in Iowa, just with specifically.
How specifically, the big question we all have in the past 2 years is expand. So every school can go out to the work we're trying to do with U of I, some of the trainings we offer. Sure, they just know how to get, I think, identifying and start to see those signs.
Iowa, that's why it allows them to be psychologists, and that has mental health parity. Those things also, the resources right there is not only really helps the team and then the family access those laws are maintained, follow those guidelines, hire family and teachers, and the ways to be able to do more providers for parity. Those all has teachers identify the.
Governor, the housing money
I'm going to run my story to tell, and it is a C coming out. She's a reflection of the level. Being soaring gas brownouts and black at the board, we're talking about really impacting our fentanyl funds and our border and both those statistics, but getting deregulated. We're seeing the challenges level, and we're making good about what we've been able to do, more left to do, and to continue to survive to see this strain in every single corner.